Hey, RetconRaider here, and welcome back to Battle Brothers Season 3. As today, we took a pretty nasty hit last time around, lost 2 familiar faces, but that's just the nature of the game, and I would say their sacrifice was ultimately worth it. We took down our second legendary location. Not to mention, of course, it does free up more spaces for potential fresh meat. I've still got like 60 names on the waiting list. That said, obviously you'll notice we've shuffled our loadouts a bit. Some of it we touched on last time, like Random rocking the new flail. But we also notably have Rook rocking the Grand Diviner's gear. We've got a lot of helmets shuffled around. And I've got both of our frontline dagger fighters now switched off to Rondels. We also had a couple of outstanding level ups. So, running through that real quick. Zar maxed out almost every single stat roll, but obviously we're going to go melee. And then, I think we'll double up on defense. He did come perilously close to perishing back in the Ancient Reliquary. As for his perk, I've got to say, I'm really kind of leaning towards Backstabber. Both because it fits thematically, but also because, those piercing strikes are kind of pointless if you can't land them on a regular basis. So doubling the surround bonus certainly helps in that regard. Likewise with Trip, who will also grab Backstabber. Though sadly his stat rolls were much lower end. But, still some stuff we can work with here. We'll go ahead and grab, obviously the initiative, plus the morale, I think. And then maybe the range defense, or the fatigue. Let's go fatigue. Yeah, that's fine. We're about to go up against, I imagine, our first full-fledged knights. So this is an ideal opportunity to grab ourselves some pretty high-end gear. That said, let's get back to it. Oh, also, I have officially pushed Rassel up to the front line. We had a spare footman's mace, and with Annie's recent demise, it felt like a good time to do it. Which means we are officially pushing him over to the frontliner perk set. So we'll go ahead and grab Underdog, which will help keep him slightly safer when we toss him out in the field. This should also be a good opportunity to clear our current ambition. We're pretty much guaranteed to have at least 24 foes for the final part of this contract. Oh, though. Why take the chance? We've got 24 Noxera right over yonder. Which is a comparatively easier fight, so that would let us knock out our ambition and bank some XP for the lower level recruits. Maybe not the most exciting fight, but a good investment of our time, I think. Yeah, let's do this. As the raiders wended their way back towards camp, a fetid stench washed over them, carried by the winds. Peering down a nearby slope, the raiders made out a makeshift body dump. Casualties of war, soldiers and civilians alike. Now not but food for the local wildlife. The raiders gave it a wide berth, though the sudden rustle of brush, the growl of beastly throats and empty stomachs, made it clear that the corpses were merely an appetizer. The raiders themselves, prime meat. Oh, yeah, we're fine. I'm mostly seeing little teeny tiny Noxera here. The ground almost seemed to ripple, a wave of gray approaching the raiders. The scampering of claws on dirt. The sickening smack of elastic lips. Drak was the first to wade in, though slowed by the uneven terrain. Trip moved in behind, plunging his blade through a Noxera's hand. Arrow laid down fire. One beast stumbled, its leg impaled. And the rest of the horde approached. Even as Mark calmly stepped up onto a rise and took aim. A thunderous blast, gaping flesh hanging like torn rags over rubbery bones. A second blast quickly echoed. The hobbled Noxera dashed to the ground, the beast behind it given brief pause. The rest of the raiders rushed in, eager to press the assault. Sigmar finishing one on the north. Verlin setting his spear on the south. Mal cut one down on center. Val axed two more. Already a sizable dent had been put in the horde's number. And yet, the raiders showed no signs of stopping. Zarmal rushing in, blocking them from their easy meal. Though the nasty Noxera would not be so easily dissuaded. They rushed in nonetheless, some practically hurling themselves onto Verlin's spear. On north, Sigmar met a beast head-on, plunging his blade through its throat. And on south, the Noxera finally pushed past Verlin's guard. But his job was well done. The beast had still been slowed enough to break their forward momentum, giving the raiders ample time to respond in kind. Assuming they could actually land hits. Oh right, we have Spear Mastery on Verlin. Forgot about that. Which does mean his spear remains set, even when engaged. A blistering blast on north. Two more beasts fall, torn asunder. Zarmal sets upon the survivors before the smoke is cleared, savaging one of the beasts, tearing it limb from limb. Even as Arrow lays down fire on the south, another beast falls, blood burbling on its lips. Alois takes aim. A scattershot blast. A few beasts bloodied, but none felled. Oh, come on, man. Missed by 1%. Sigmar trims another on north. Blade wrenched from its bleeding neck. Verlin wades in. Even as Mal cuts one down at his side. And the horde officially breaks, many of their numbers scampering for the hills. One receiving a spear to the back for its trouble. Though a few do still push forward to fill the void. One swiftly discouraged by Zarmal's dirk. The raiders move to corral the rest. Val almost casually lopping one's leg off in passing. Trip disembowels another. and the fight is all but won. The Raiders simply going through the motions now as they finish off the final few. Random grunts, hefting the unfamiliar weight of the Grand Diviner's censer. A beast crushed brutally into the ground, its body all but pulped. Bowman peppers the fleeing fiends. Felling one and creasing the scalp of another. Verlin runs one through, opening a path. Whilst others continue scampering desperately away. Though a few mill about in confusion, with the Raiders taking full advantage. A bloodied beast felled, blade buried neath its chin. A few did, however, still make good their escape. Try as the Raiders might, there were simply too many to keep them all fully contained. Zarmal cut one down, even as another used that as cover to scamper away. Drakiith decapitated a larger beast. Trip quickly pushing up behind. A pair of hatchets thunked into a larger Nutzer's chest. Rook impaling yet one more. One last blast, a cloud of shrapnel practically turning a bloodied beast inside out. Its ragged gray flesh billowing like a popped balloon. Rubbery bones and fetid entrails splattering across the terrain. Behind, one last beast fell, pinned like a bug, squirming in its death throes. Rook raised the company banner, a barked command, and the Raiders broke off to chase. The battle was well and truly won. And soon, bags weighed down with brains and teeth aplenty. The Raiders went on their way, secure in the knowledge that they had made this world ever so slightly a safer place. Sadly, no level ups, but that's fine. Still banked some XP, grabbed some potentially useful loot, and hopefully cleared an ambition to boot. One we've been sitting on for quite a while now. Rax and Diego still slightly dinged up. Might have time for a full recovery before we head into the final fray here. But let's be ready with a backup plan just in case. Yeah, that should be fine. Okay, back on task. Oh, and there we go. After the fight, King's Rook, the sergeant, sits gazing at his feet, looking completely knackered, as do the others. I must say, Scapegrace, I never gave much thought to the science behind these skirmishes, but I will admit, that was quite a fight. The thought of death has never hung quite so heavily upon my head as it has as of late. But now if I do meet my fate, I know it shall be amongst the bravest and deadliest bunch of men I've ever known. And I'm proud to call them my brothers. His words are met with a chorus of weary assent all around. Peasants talk of sweat, blood, and tears, comes another call. But the men of the RetconRaiders have walked through fire and prevailed. 3 times the men shout the company name, tired but victorious. In the days to come, you find that wherever civilized people gather, they point you out and whisper, whether in fear or admiration you do not know. Everywhere you go, word of your mighty victory has traveled the land before you. Lovely. Which does, thankfully, go a long way towards counteracting the pretty hefty hit to mood we took from losing Annie and Rev. So yes, definitely worth our time. Ambition cleared, mood reset. Puts us in pretty good shape for what's to come. Speaking of which, let me do some quick rearranging here. All right, let's head on back. Sir Lothar nods to your reports, but is otherwise not really paying any attention to you. A bunch of battle maps are laid out on a table, and his eyes are focused in on those instead. You understand it. Tomorrow's the big battle, and he has better things to think about. You decide to turn in for the night. Rest well this night, brothers. For tomorrow, battle awaits. Though not just yet, you still have a full evening to rest and recover, which should hopefully be enough time to get Diego back in the fray. Though I don't think enough time to pop over... Well, I mean, right, there's no point in visiting towns at night. Okay, give me a sec to take care of some quick bookkeeping, last-minute battle prep, etc. Then we'll see where we stand. And good to go. How are we looking, Lothar? Sir Lothar walks before an assembly of his soldiers, some idle with weary faces, having not slept through the night. Others still shake with the jitters. Their commander calls to them. Are you afraid? Are you scared? That's fine. I'd be worried if you weren't. Scattered laughter lifts the mood. He continues. But right now I'm asking you not to be scared for your own hide, but instead to be scared for the lives of your countrymen, your families. They are who we fight for this day. Let us worry about ourselves tomorrow. For today, we will be men. The laughter turns into roaring cheers. Yeah, not bad. Some of you guys might even survive. Oh, and right into it. A plethora of footmen, many billmen, some arbalisters, standard bearer, sergeant, a few knights, plural, and some mercenaries. Nothing we can't handle. I'd mainly be concerned if we saw a bunch of, like, named characters, or a master swordsman or archer. Though the arbalist, that is a potential issue. The two sides squared off for a scant few seconds, but the pattering of projectiles quickly spurred them both into motion. Goswin's mercenaries were the first to break rank, flooding forward, eager to engage, a hulking hedge knight at their backs. The raiders showed slightly more restraint, hanging back as they waited for Sir Lothar's men to take the brunt. More mercenaries moved in on the north. House Goswin's sergeant on the south, gesturing for the rest of his soldiers to follow. And follow they did. Quickly met by House Harkon's men in turn. And the bloody battle began in earnest, though, strangely, House Goswin's men, perhaps recognizing the threat posed by the raiders, seemed intent on giving them a wide berth. Their formation split straight down the middle, which actually works out just fine for us, because it means we can punch right through. Head straight for their back line. The bloody battle began in earnest, the sweep of billhooks cleaving limbs. Bones sundered, flesh torn, though no lives yet claimed. Val took aim. A pair of axes, fracturing face and femur alike. Zarmal pushed past the broken man, engaging a pikeman beyond. Drak at his back. Mark pushed up, handgun at the ready. A cloud of shrapnel swept the Goswin lines, though ultimately turned aside by a stalwart shield wall. Rax pushed past the disgruntled gunner, cleaving the broken shieldman beyond. A crossbow bolt flew overhead, narrowly missing Mark. Alois pushed up on south. Another plume of smoke and shrapnel, this time met with more success. Flesh blistering away to bare broken bone beneath. Rook darted in, taking a tentative jab at a wounded billman. Diego did likewise on the north, leading the charge against the enemies on the rise. And Random ambled forth, the smoldering censer spiraling in lazy circles overhead as he sought a safe approach. Verlin lunged in, finishing a wounded pikeman. And the battle raged on. Goswin's men rattled, but still standing firm. Spying the enemy banner, Bowman took aim. An arrow thunked into chain-tunicked torso. Even as Zarmal savaged another soldier with a flurry of strikes. The punctured pikeman soon expired. A net flung awkwardly over the line. Weighted rope slowing Verlin's advance to a crawl. Drak darted in, engaging the enemy banner. A Goswin billman stumbled, bolt buried deep. Random held for a moment longer, eyeing the enemy arbalisters. There we go. Yeah, Random's biggest weakness is against range weapons, so best to avoid tempting fate where we can. And House Goswin soldiers rallied, perhaps now realizing the mistake they had made in fracturing their line. Multiple men came rushing around, trying to reinforce their center line. With a deft yank, Rook freed Verlin to continue holding the south. Verlin promptly punched his spear halfway through a charging soldier, then nodded brief thanks. Shield raised and ready once more. A bellowing blast of House Goswin's horn rang out, rallying the remaining men. They rushed back into the fray, but were swiftly met by ever-escalating violence. One, stumbling back, half his ribs stoven in, courtesy of Cetrus's swing. Another Goswin soldier fell on North. But the squad's commander, Sir Selvin, the garishly clad knight, shouted words of encouragement to his men even as he tore through another Harkon soldier in turn. Valin carefully moved up. A hurled hatchet buried halfway through a billman's bicep. The brutish hedge knight pushed up on the raiders' back line. But Random stayed focused, finally finding his opening. A broad and brutal swing, clumsy but still effective. A pikeman deftly ducked the blow, but the billman was not so fortunate. Dashed to the dirt, a misshapen bag of bruised flesh and broken bones. Spying the hedge knight on south, Zarmal started wading his way back through the crowd. Or at least he tried. But the thronging soldiers were packed too tightly to give easy passage. So he held, if just for a moment. Mark moved in, albeit warily. Another blast, a pikeman felled, a path cleared. The gunner swiftly fell back. Lothar grunted, an errant arrow glancing from his helm. Arrow fired back in turn. Two more tightly packed projectiles, thunking into the bannerman's chest. An arbalister off to the side, stumbling as well. Bloodied by return fire. Rack-side the piteous wretch before him. Then pushed past. Sight set on Sir Severin himself. Alois found himself in an increasingly perilous position, but fired nonetheless, scouring the skull of the House Goswin sergeant. Pushing past Verlin, Rook rushed forward. Pike impaling an errant arbalister's arm. Despite being defaced, the House Goswin sergeant fought on fiercely, axe buried in a Harkon soldier's head. Cetrus shattered another arbalister's arm, and the bannerman stumbled back, bleeding profusely from a myriad of wounds. Finally falling to his knees, and then planting face first on the ground. Random rushed forward, stepping over the still fresh corpse. sight set on the enemies who still yet stood. Sir Lothar followed warily in his wake. And the enemy Hedge Knight finally broke through. A cleave of his axe felling a Harkon Arbalister. His glowering gaze set upon arrow in back. Oof, goodness. Rax grunted and stumbled, met with unexpected savagery from Sir Severin's axe. He quickly shrugged it off, a brutish backhand beheading the man beside Severin. Zarmal darted back through center, cutting a Hedge Knight's hunt short. Or at least that's the hope. Though I will say, do kind of wish I brought Trippin on this. Double teaming him would be a whole lot safer. Zarmal jabs once, twice, thrice. But each time, his blade is turned aside by the thick, plated scale. Mark reloads, moving to back Rats. Wow, rude. Probably should have run, but another blistering blast. The last enemy Arbalister broken. Though two singed sellswords bear down on Alois. Not to be deterred, Rax hacks back. A blow landed, but chain giving way to sturdy plated steel beneath. Really thought that was a chain tunic, did not realize that was full-on plate. Spying a fleeing mercenary, Random moves to intercept. But the sensor swings wide. The sergeant staggers, stabbed in the back. Diego disarms another Arbalister. And Cetra sees it through. Another skull shattered neath his savage swing. Sir Severin likewise sent staggering, with a swift follow-through. Yeah, a bit of a shame to smash up that full plate, but, you know, we're already all in on trying to harvest the scale, so gotta do what you gotta do. Might have chanced it if we had Trip here, but then again, who's to say how things might have played out then? And just like that, the tide has turned. Though Sir Severin still fights on, his soldiers' numbers swiftly dwindle. Though those that remain do fight fiercely. But despite that minor victory, House Goswin's men begin to scatter nonetheless. As do his mercenaries, even the huge Hedge Knight given pause as Zarmal's second salvo of strikes slips neath scales, savaging skin beneath. Alright, Lothar, anytime now, bud. Could really use a distraction on North. Alois guns down a fleeing Arbalister. Overkill, perhaps, but well warranted. Bowman considers his options. Then puts a long shot through a distant dastard. What do you call someone who throws a javelin? Javelineer? Random cracks a sellsword skull, then moves in for the kill. Diego kicks a soldier off the rise, pushing up on Sir Severin. Buying Rax a brief distraction. A shattering strike. Sir Severin's shield splinters. Oh, gosh. Not quite fast enough. Zarmal is caught by a cleaving swing of a Hedge Knight's axe. Chain cowl torn away. Arm split to the bone. Drakiith grunts, stumbling back, briefly stunned by a brutish blow. Another merc falls on North. As does one on South. Zarmal moves in for the kill, bloody but unbeaten. He swiftly returns the favor, impaling his enemy's elbow. Val steps up. A flipping axe felling the second to last merc. Oh right, we've still got that one too. Wow, there were a lot more mercenaries than I realized. Seeing Zarmal flagging. Alois and Arrow lay down fire. Projectiles plinking off the heavily armored Hedge Knight. And yet still throwing him off balance, buying the assassin time to finish the job. Meanwhile, the rest of the raiders set their sights north, on the few remaining foes that still yet fight on. Verlin pushes into Zarmal's side. Shield at the ready. A Harkon Arbalister falls, bolt through his throat. And with one last swing, Sir Severin's shield shatters. While on the south, Verlin intercepts the Hedge Knight's axe. Lothar beats down the last enemy crossbowman. Sorry, Lothar. You're fine. And spying is opening. Oh, come on, man. Zarmal is unable to find purchase. Arrow continues laying down fire. Shot after shot pumped into the armored juggernaut on south. Random takes careful aim. There we go. A mighty swing, 2 soldiers staggered, 1 favoring fractured phalanges. Verlin drives the Hedge Knight back, briefly buying Zarmal some breathing room. Cetra swings and Sand Shield. Sir Severan's shin shatters. And Rax promptly puts him the rest of the way down. Nighty-night, he snarls, foot planted against the dead dilettante's back as he wrenches his axe free. The other nearby raiders roll their eyes, but applaud his accomplishment nonetheless. And with that, the day is won. House Goswin has been routed. The final few blows, a mere formality. But for the Hedge Knight in back, I suppose, but even there, a mere matter of time. I will say, kind of funny to see Lothar suddenly striding about, killing people left and right now that the fight's essentially over. Real shades of Dragon Slayer there, you know, when the king comes out and stabs the already dead dragon. Swaying and lightheaded from blood loss, the Hedge Knight watches Zarmal warily, the assassin's blade dancing back and forth as he seeks another opening. Hey, there we go. Only for Verlin to catch him off guard. Spear cast aside, skinning blade in hand, sinking deep into the Hedge Knight's side and finally dropping him to the ground. Zarmal grunts and nods thanks. I had him, you know. I'm sure you did, Verlin responds. But this is a team effort. And thus another bloody skirmish comes to an end. A single Goswin soldier scampering for the hills, who lives to tell the tales of the slaughter that took place this day. Which honestly was pretty one-sided. I mean, Harkon lost a lot of men too, but as for us, it was really just Zarmal's arm wound, which, let's be honest, was well worth grabbing a full-on coat of scales. Plus, closed flat top with mail. I mean, not great, but we'll take it. And our first heavy crossbow. Great trainer weapon if we decide to bring in another range bro. Well done, Raiders. Let's go get paid. You find Sir Lothar squatting over a wounded enemy soldier. He's running a dagger along the poor man's chest, back and forth, scraping it along the armor. The commander looks at you. What do you think, Sellsword? Should I let him live? The prisoner stares at you. He juts his head forward, blinking hard. You suppose this is a yes. You shrug. Yeah, that's not really up to me. Look, it was great fighting with you and all, Lothar, but I've got to get back to your boss now. Sir Lothar nods. Be seeing you, then. As you leave, the commander is still back there, hunched beside his prisoner, the blade clinking as it goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Yeah, you have fun with that. And 1 level up for Alois. Let's go ahead and get that knocked out. Level 8 is Fearsome. And then, of course, we'll take the range. We'll take the initiative. Round that out to 100. And yeah, I guess the RDEF. Push that up towards 15. Aside from that, tag items for repair. Should fetch a fair price next time we pass through a walled keep. Speaking of which, let's set our sights on Thunberg. Collect our pay, and I think that'll be a good place to call it. Count Cunibert von Harkon is found in his garden, telling jokes to a group of women. You break into their group, soaked in blood, covered in mud. The women gasp and step away. Count Cunibert laughs. Ah, the sellsword returns! You're such a ladies' man, mercenary. I wish I could offer one of these fine women to you, but I'm afraid their fathers would have your nuts, if you even so much as touched one. One of the ladies runs a hand along her bosom. He can touch me if he likes. Count Cunibert laughs again. Oh, dear, haven't you already gotten enough men in trouble? Run along, ladies, and tell one of my guards to fetch a satchel of 4,000 crowns. Yeah, just the crowns, please. I'm not really keen on complications. No need to go nuts. Ooh, and we've got a kennel. Let's go ahead and grab a replacement doggo for Diego. Welcome aboard, Wind. And there you go, bud. Sorry about battle, brother. Let's also pull our wounded. Rax got pretty beat up. He might need some time on the bench. Yeah, let's go ahead and give him a breather. Give someone else a chance to shine. Like Rassel. Yeah, gotta give him some time in the field. He's bound to be a bit more important if we're looking to hire again. At least if we end up picking up a non-combat recruit, like a monk or a historian, both of which do have some pretty notable non-combat functionality. Though, you know, it would also be nice to pick up something like a hedge knight or a gladiator. Some real top-tier combatants. That said, yeah, this does feel like a good place to call it. None of the prospective hires jumped out at me, but I do see at least a couple of items that are at least worth considering. The Sallet Helm, the Warbow. That said, we'll hit the pause button for now. I'll crunch the numbers off screen, and we'll pick up here next time. See you then. Oh, and special thanks to the Raiders, the fine folks who help make these videos possible, including but not limited to Erie V23, Revenant, Alois, Arrow Bowman, Dragon Matrix 7, Drakiith, EgonAlter, Exsellsior, Gottlieb, James Trimmier, Kazorm, Lady Shayna, Mark Giemza, Nathan Welch Jr., OverlordPherom, RandomPassrby, RobbyB, Tomasz Piątkowski, Triphoppenskip, and Valinrook. Thanks for your support, guys. That said, if you'd also like to help support the channel, then feel free to push the buttons that do the things. Trust me, it does make a difference. Or you could even check out the PayPal, the Patreon, the Nexus GG, or the YouTube memberships. Links are in the description.